The House Financial Services Subcommittee on Oversight releasing its report on MF Global collapse today. The staff's investigation involved 3 hearings, more than 50 witness interviews, and review of hundreds of thousands of documents obtained from MF Global. Congresswoman Nan Hayworth is on the House Financial Services Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigation, and she joins us this morning. Congresswoman, good to have you. Good morning.
Good to be with you, Carl.
It's a tough story to talk about, no matter how you view the debacle. The key findings, as far as you're concerned?
Well, that John Corzine clearly had far too free a rein to become trader-in-chief without proper internal oversight within the company. The faulty practices within MF Global that could lead to that kind of situation were not fully vetted by the regulators. There was incoordination between CFTC and SEC quite conspicuously. That should never have happened. The ratings agencies failed yet again, this is a theme, to identify that in fact the company was taking on inordinate risk, and as a result thousands of people's lives were ruined, and this is a terrible thing, should never happen again.
Yeah. A spokesperson for Corzine last night said, although we have not been able to review the whole report, the subcommittee apparently, in his words, did not find any evidence Mr. Corzine acted in bad faith or engaged in any intentional wrongdoing. Does that fit the spirit of the report?
Well, the spin they're clearly taking in that statement, Carl, is that there was not an intention to do something wrong. But clearly, things went terribly wrong. And all the circumstantial evidence at this point does indicate that Mr. Corzine was at the helm of this ship and that he was driving it into a storm that it couldn't survive.
One of the recommendations of the report, as you know, is that Congress legislate some civil liability imposed on company officers for signing financial documents. Does that mean that at this stage right now there is no grounds to charge either Corzine or Edith O'Brien or anyone related to this?
Well, Carl, what our congressional committee and what the Oversight Committee of Financial Services did obviously was our duty to provide oversight, to investigate what happened, to provide some sort of a start at forensic analysis from the legislative and regulatory point of view. The trail of actual actions that could be considered culpable has not yet fully been defined, as I understand it.
Finally, I know you know Congressman Capuano's statement regarding the report. I am not co-sponsoring the majority staff report, he writes, on MF Global, primarily due to an insufficient amount of time to review it and go over it with other Democratic subcommittee members. Are we really drawing political lines on this thing?
You know, I don't think so, Carl. I think there's quite broad agreement that there are distinct areas within both the specifics of the culture of MF Global and the actions of John Corzine and his top executives that can be acted on further, perhaps, and that there are distinct areas in which you can provide far better tools for our regulators and a more efficient, effective regulatory structure. And this is something that members of both parties can certainly work on productively.
Congresswoman, really appreciate your time today. It's an important read. Congresswoman Nan Hayworth of New York, thanks for joining us today.